What's up, everybody? Hey, it's Pastor Troy Wynn Sr. here, wanting probably 10 minutes of your time. I want to show you something that I think is going to bless your life today. And I'm in between coaching calls, so forgive me. I've only got about 10 minutes. I want to show you a video clip that lasts about 5 minutes, but I want to set it up. 3 months ago, I was scheduled to go speak at Huntington Middle School. Shout out to Dr. Gwendolyn Taylor, the principal there. Phenomenal woman, phenomenal principal, just a phenomenal person. And this is a principal who can call me at any given time, and I'm coming to her school just because of the caliber of person she is. And we've built a relationship and a rapport over the last few years that has just been beautiful. Spoken there before to the students as well as the staff. And she called me earlier this year and said, I want you to come talk to a group of students that I have that I'm concerned about. Now, this was phenomenal to me as a principal because she was concerned about them academically, concerned about them being successful in life. And she had taken note that they needed some encouragement. They needed some motivation. She said she had thought about who she could bring in, and my name came to mind. Long story short, in January, I agreed to come, and she gathered what looked to be 30 or 40 students in the cafeteria. What was funny was they didn't know why they were there. They had just been summoned to come to the cafeteria, so there was this buzz amongst themselves trying to figure out what's going on, why are we here, and we just kind of waited for the opportunity to speak. And I shared with them that they were there because their principal cared about them. They were there because their principal and her staff and team were sincerely concerned about their success academically and about their success in life. And they'd asked me to come in and speak to them. That's what I do: pastor, author, transformation coach, motivational speaker, preacher, teacher. That's me. That's what I do. And I do this on a day-to-day basis. My passion, above all things, just happens to be young people. My first ministerial assignment in ministry was that of a youth pastor, and I will always cherish those days, those years, that time as a youth pastor, because man, it just gave me the opportunity to kind of communicate with young folks in a way that I found to be very successful even today in 2022. And that was 20, 25 years ago. So we spoke to them, and I spoke to them about life. I spoke to them about death. I spoke to them about them achieving their goals and them dying, having not fulfilled all the things they wanted to fulfill in their life because they perhaps wasted their opportunities or got sidetracked or just got caught up with the wrong group of kids. And I expressed my care, my concern, my desire to see every one of them succeed. Had a great time with them. They responded, they took notes. It was a very energetic moment. But before I left them, I challenged every single one of them to take what I had taught that day and to turn themselves around in such a way that it would be undeniable to everyone who knew them prior to that day, prior to that moment. And I said openly to them in that cafeteria, some 30, 40 students, I said, here's what I'm going to do for every one of you. Dr. Taylor tells me at the end of the school year that you've turned your life around, that you have made some phenomenal changes, that you're really amongst the top in this group to take this information and really do something with it. I said, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do something really, really nice for every single one of you that fall into that category. I shook every one of their hands when they left the cafeteria. And I said, Dr. Taylor, you call me now at the end of the school year. You let me know who followed my instructions, who applied the principles, and who literally have turned their situation around. Well, she called me earlier this week and said, Pastor Troy, You've got to come back to Huntington Middle School. So what's up? She says, I've got 3 students who, since the day you spoke to them, they have turned their lives around. They are not the same students they were prior to you coming to our school, and they have done a phenomenal transformation. I say, cool, let's set it up. And we set it up today for me to come and meet these 3 phenomenal students. I told her, I said, I'm going to bring them something because I promised I would bless them. I promised I would give them something, and I'll have something for them. Now, she didn't know what I was bringing. She didn't know what I was going to do for them because I didn't even tell her. So I want you to watch this video because this is the video that we recorded of us sitting in a conference room, just having a conversation, just really praising them and applauding them for being 3 out of maybe 40 students that said, you know what? I can be better. I can do better. I can bring my grades up. I can be a leader. I can transform my life. 3 took it, and boy, did they run with it. So watch this, and it's about 5 minutes, but I want you to see the impact that Dr. Gwendolyn Taylor and her entire staff are having over there at Huntington Middle School. And I want you to see 3 young men who prove that every one of today's youth have the ability to do amazing things. We just have to figure out how to convince them that they can. Enjoy this, and I'll be back to close this out. But I wanted you guys to see it, and I've edited it just a little bit to kind of shorten it. But I want to take you into the room so you can see what we saw and hear what we heard. It was a phenomenal thing, and I hope you enjoy it.
And I had to tell him about the 3 of you. The change that you all have made. You come to school, almost AB honor roll, no write-up, the math assessment. I mean, it just touched my heart. The change you all have made. You should feel good about yourself. It made me feel good. I know your parents feel like having good phone calls from me.
Yeah.
The turnaround.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, it just brings joy to your heart. You know, going AB honor roll, coming to school on time, no write-ups, no talking back. Want to make some out of their lives.
And you said they didn't just do a 180 or a 360.
No, they did a 400. They did a 400. One day I asked Mr. Blasgan, I said, are they still in the building? He said, they still here. They still here.
Oh, y'all been trying to change.
Yeah, you did.
My God, you
and
did.
we're just so proud of it.
Man, I want y'all to be encouraged, and I want y'all to continue to do what you're doing to the end of the year, but not just the end of the year. Let's make this a part of our lifestyle.
Always.
I got 2 things for you. First, because I love reading, and I want to give you one of the books that I've written. It's entitled 51 Truths That Will Transform Your Life.
I'll definitely read it when I get home.
Promise me you'll read it.
I promise you.
All right, you don't have to read it today, just over the course of the next couple of weeks. Got you right here. And then last but not least, from me to you guys, I want y'all to read that book. But I told you I was gonna do something big for you. And I want to do something that I think is impressive. So when you walk out of this room, you're like, oh my God, did that just happen? You walk out of this room, I want you to make sure you let all the other people that were in the cafeteria that day know they missed it.
Most definitely.
Because I was prepared to do this for every single person in that room. There were probably 30, 40 people in that room that day. I went home and did the
I
math.
thought it was the whole school for us.
It wasn't the whole school, but your principal had pulled out the ones that she was concerned about, that she cared about, and that speaks volumes to your school. A lot of schools don't really.
I'm glad you did pull me out, because at first I thought I was doing, right, but then I got it through my head that at first I was going to, change back over, but then talked and then, I got to stay in this path.
That's right.
Got to.
Gotta stay in that path.
I'm excited. want you to hold it. I want y'all to open these at the same time. Can y'all do that?
Yeah, I will open my thing. Y'all want to open
We're gonna open them together. Okay. All right. When I count to 3, I want y'all to open them up.
All right.
1, 1.5, 2, 3.
You didn't have to do that.
What are you gonna say?
Thank you. How you doing?
Yes, of course you can give it a hug. You're welcome. You're welcome, son. You're welcome.
This room.
I don't do fake. That's very much for real.
Because I honestly don't deserve it.
Yeah, you deserve
Yes,
it.
you do.
Now, you do deserve it. You deserve it because you're worth it. You deserve it because you did the work. And it's an example of what can happen in your life if you continue on this path. This is what happens when you do the right thing, in spite of what everybody else is doing. Because I know it was challenging when you have other friends who are still on that knuckleheaded path. And you got to focus in the midst of that. Y'all ain't tell me what you got.
What? 500?
$500 a piece.
It's a lot of money for kids like me.
What grade are you in? 7th and 8th. So how many 8th graders do you know go to
Let me hold.
school
You go get Mr. Robluski.
Go to school.
Share.
and leave school on a Friday and they got $500?
Not nobody.
Nobody.
You ever seen that before? Simply for doing the right thing. Wow. Let me tell you something. I was there, and when I got back home and I saw the video footage, man, it got me. It got me. It got me because if you could have been in that room, you would have understood the impact of what happened in their lives today. To, number one, have somebody value them at that level. There was a 7th grader, and I think the other 2 were 8th graders. The impression that we made, and when I say we, I'm not talking just about me, because it's a team effort. We got Dr. Gwendolyn Taylor, and we got her entire staff, and I don't have everybody's name, but there's a whole host of people over there that are working diligently hard to not leave any child behind. And I know there are other schools doing the same thing, but this is a school that I happen to be personally involved with. This is a school that's invited me in, thanks to the principal, and said, "Hey, Pastor, we appreciate what you do. We recognize the power and the influence that you have with young people. And we want to have you come in on a regular basis and just encourage and motivate and guide these young folks because they listen to you." And again, I give God all the glory because I know it's because of him that God has put something inside of me that causes young men and young women to listen to what I say, and not just listen to what I say, they hear and they apply. I didn't show the whole thing, but these guys were actually quoting some of the things that I had said in my presentation, which actually happened 3 months ago. Now I want you to fathom that. 3 months ago, I spoke to this group of 30, 40 youth in a cafeteria. And these 3 young men were recalling things that I had said in January. That's powerful, but they didn't just recall it. They heard it, they applied it, they believed it, and now they're reaping the benefits. They're reaping the benefits of an amazing reputation. They're reaping the benefits of $500 investment that we made in each and every one of them today. And they're reaping the benefits of seeing what happens when you choose not to follow the masses if the masses are striving for average. And I'm excited, I'm full, I'm happy because this is what we do. You know, you guys hear me all the time talk about the 80-20 project at the Freedom Church. And this is an example of what the 80-20 project does. At the Freedom Church this year, we've committed our ministry to focus 80% of our focus on the youth. But we went a little bit further this year. We decided that we were going to focus 80% of our finances on the youth this year, the year of 2022. In other words, we said it's time for us to put our money where our mouth is, as a church, as a ministry, as a people, as a society. Now, our ministry has always done a lot for young people, but we've never done 80%. Not a focus, and definitely not 80% finance. And somebody asked me the other day, says, aren't you worried about your ministry? Aren't you worried about not being able to grow your ministry? Aren't you worried about all these other things? And I said to them, I'm not worried about anything, because this is what God told me to do. God told me to do this because I believe that there is no other group of people on this planet that need our attention, our focus, and our finances like the youth do of today. And we love to talk at them. Sometimes we get a chance to talk to them, but something happens when they can connect the dots between the high value that we place on them financially and the message that we want to give them cerebrally. Some way, somehow, it allows them to accept what we have to say, or at least be more open to hear what we have to say, because they see we're putting our money where our mouth is. And I'm going to ask you today that if you like what we do, if you're inspired, ignited, if you believe in what we do, I'm going to ask you to become a supporter of what we're doing. Because what you saw today in this video, those that are in the know behind the scenes know that this is a microcosm of what we do every single week. 90% of the things we do don't get filmed, don't get broadcast. They don't even get talked about, because I never want to be that guy who every time he does something, he's got to have a camera on the scene. And I do believe in documenting things. I know it's important to do that. But at the same time, I just don't want to be that person that every time I'm doing something, I'm putting it on social media, because sometimes I just want to do something and I want to let the people who receive it talk about it. But today I thought it was important that you kind of have a behind the scenes look. And that was not a professional video. I didn't have a camera crew, shot on an iPhone and edited, just for you to kind of have a sneak peek of what we're really doing over here. Number one, at the Freedom Church. Number two, what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis as a pastor, as somebody who's concerned about people, somebody who loves people, somebody more importantly who loves today's youth, and I believe in today's youth. I want to shout out again Dr. Gwendolyn Taylor at Huntington Middle School. I think you are a phenomenal woman, phenomenal person, a phenomenal principal. Also want to shout out your entire staff and everyone that I have had the pleasure and the privilege of meeting and working with over the last couple of years. Every single person there that I have met has been welcoming and kind and positive, and really just excited about our partnership as it relates to empowering today's youth. And I want to thank those of you that watched this video and share it with others. And I do ask you to share it because I want other young people to see what happens when you do the right thing. I want other young people to see that it's important not to follow behind the knuckleheads. And that's just the nicest way I know how to say it. The knuckleheads who won't do the work, they cut up in class, they distract the teacher from really being able to teach at their best because they've got to deal with the discipline issues in the classroom. And I want them to see what happens when you go to school to be a good student. When you go to school, you pay attention. When you go to school and you strive to be on time, you strive to do your work. These students that you just saw are on the honor roll. I don't know if y'all can grasp that. They went from not being on the honor roll to being on the honor roll. Fathom that for a few minutes, guys. Some of those students in that room went from on their way out of school. One of them even had been to Crossroads, and they were really not on the best trajectory as far as school and academics was concerned, as far as the behavior in school. But look at them now. Don't tell me that this is a lost generation. You're gonna have to tell that to somebody else. Don't tell me that we can't reach them. You got to tell that to somebody else. Because I'm seeing every single day that they're reachable and they're teachable. We just have to understand their language. And we have to be willing to meet them where they are so that we can help them go to the level in life that we know they're capable of achieving. But listen, I've got to go. I've got another coaching call, but I just wanted to share this with you. I hope it's been a blessing. Number one, I'm going to ask you to share it with your family and your friends. Hopefully some other young people can see it and be inspired. And number two, I am asking you to support the 80/20 project, to support the initiatives at the Freedom Church. And when I say support, I'm not talking about a hand clap. I'm not talking about, hey, that's great. I'm talking about a financial support. I hope that you'll do that today, that you'll get your debit card out and you will make a contribution, because you can see where the money's going. You can see what we're doing with the finances. We are impacting lives and we're investing in youth, and it's working. I hope you have a blessed day. I hope you have a good day. But more importantly, don't you just have a good day. You know what I'm going to say. I want you to have a God day. I love you. I appreciate you. And I want to thank you in advance for your support.